The Egyptians didn't build the pyramids. They inherited them from a race of giants who vanished before history even began. Now, what you just heard might have shocked you. Maybe you laughed. Maybe you got angry. But give me a minute, because the evidence is far more disturbing than you think. The Great Pyramid, the Giza Plateau, 6 million tons of stone, 70-ton blocks. And according to official history, all of this was built with copper tools, wooden ramps, and manpower. But something doesn't add up, because even today, with all our modern engineering knowledge, with all our cranes, computers, and laser measurement systems, even we couldn't rebuild the Great Pyramid. So we have to ask the question, if we can't do it, how did they? The answer might be that they didn't. Maybe they found it. Some of the foundation stones of the Giza Pyramid weigh 70 tons. 70 tons. Nearly 10 times the weight a modern truck can carry. And these stones aren't just on the ground. They're hundreds of feet up, placed with perfect precision. What does official history tell us? Around 2560 BC, under the orders of Pharaoh Khufu, 100,000 workers built this massive structure over 20 years, using copper saws and chisels, placing stone upon stone. But the math says something else. If the Great Pyramid was really built in 20 years, and it consists of 2,300,000 stones, then one stone had to be placed every 10 minutes, day and night, for 20 years, without stopping. And that's not just moving them. Each stone had to be cut, transported, lifted, and placed with millimeter precision. Impossible? No. But incredibly difficult. And maybe, just maybe, we're asking the wrong question. Maybe the question isn't, how did they do it? Maybe the question is, who did it? The Great Pyramid isn't just big, it's also incredibly precise. Its base is almost a perfect square. The four sides differ from each other by only 58 millimeters. In a 6 million ton structure, 58 millimeters. Even by modern construction standards, this is unacceptably precise work. And the alignment? The pyramid shows only 3/60ths of a degree deviation from the north-south axis. Not even a compass is that accurate. How did they do it? Some say they looked at the stars, that they followed Orion's belt. Maybe. But that still doesn't explain how 10-ton stones were lifted to 100 meters height and placed with millimeter precision. And why? Why did it need to be this perfect? Because the pyramids weren't just tombs. They were something else. In 1837, a British officer named Colonel Howard Vyse discovered one of the hidden chambers inside the Great Pyramid. And on the wall of that chamber, he found a mark carved into the stone. A handprint. But this wasn't a normal handprint, because measurements showed that this handprint was at least 50% larger than a normal human hand. Vyse reported this finding, but the report was quickly shelved as a measurement error. The original documents are missing. Only a brief note in his journals remains. This isn't an isolated case. In 1895, just south of Giza, a French archaeological team was excavating when they found something strange. Skeletal remains that resembled human bones, but much larger. The team leader, Dr. Émile Brouin, sent the findings to Paris. But the bones never reached the museum. There's no trace of them in shipping records. Brouin never spoke of this discovery again in the following years, as if it never happened. Why? Ancient Egyptian texts describe the origin of the pyramids as the Age of the Gods, Zep Tepi, the first time. In this age, gods walked the earth, and they were not human-sized. When Herodotus visited Egypt in the 5th century BC, he spoke with the priests. The priests told him this: the pyramids existed long before Khufu. He only had his name inscribed on them. Herodotus wrote this down. But modern historians dismissed this statement as exaggeration or legend. Why? Because if the pyramids existed before Khufu, then who built them? And if they weren't normal humans, who were they? The Giza Sphinx, according to official history, was built around 2500 BC, at the same time as the pyramids. But when geologist Dr. Robert Schoch examined the surface of the Sphinx in the 1990s, he noticed something strange. Erosion. But not wind erosion. Water erosion. Deep, vertical rain channels. Not just on the surface, but meters deep. And when was the last time Egypt had that much intense rainfall? 12,000 years ago. Meaning the Sphinx could be at least 12,000 years old. That's 6,000 years older than Egyptian civilization. So who carved it? And why a human body? But a lion's head? Maybe there wasn't a lion's head at first. Maybe it was something else. And it was changed later. Maybe the face was too large. In 1513, Ottoman Admiral Piri Reis drew a strange map. This map showed South America, but not just the coastline. It also showed the coastline of Antarctica, without ice. How is that possible? Piri Reis said he compiled the map from ancient sources, from Greek maps dating back to the 4th century BC. But Antarctica wasn't discovered until 1820, and the coastline under the ice wasn't detected until the 1950s with sonar technology. So where did the information on Piri Reis's map come from? The answer: from a much older civilization, from a race that lived before the glaciers. And this race was advanced and organized enough to map the world. But then, something happened. A catastrophe, a reset, and they vanished. In the 19th century, especially in North America, strange discoveries were made. Wisconsin, Ohio, Tennessee found during excavations giant skeletons, some 2.5 meters tall, some 3 meters, some even taller. Newspapers wrote about it. Even the New York Times published it, with headlines like "Giant Skeletons Found." But then, silence. The Smithsonian Institution collected these skeletons, cataloged them, and then they disappeared. No records, no photographs, no bones. The Smithsonian's official statement says, "No giant skeletons exist in our collection." But did the newspapers lie? Were hundreds of witnesses wrong? Or did someone try very hard to hide the truth? Because if giants really existed, then all of history must be rewritten. If giants built the pyramids, then humanity is much older than we thought. And if this race was wiped out by a catastrophe, then maybe we could share the same fate. But more importantly, if there were giants and they disappeared, it means there were other civilizations before us. And this destroys the fundamental narrative of the modern world. We are the pinnacle of history, the most advanced civilization ever. But what if we're not? What if we're just the next version? The pyramids weren't tombs, because no mummies were ever found inside them, no treasures, no hieroglyphic narratives, just empty chambers, narrow corridors, and strange acoustic properties. Some researchers say this: the pyramids were energy structures. They created vibrations using underground water beneath the Nile River, and this vibration generated electricity. Does that sound crazy? But there are similar structures all over the world, in Bosnia, in China, in Mexico. They all have the same geometric properties. They're all above water sources. They all appear to generate energy, and they're all from the same period, 12,000 years ago, the time of the lost civilization. The Egyptians didn't build the pyramids. They found them, they repaired them, and they inscribed their own names on them. But the true builders were long gone, a race, giant in size, with advanced technology, who mapped the world, who built structures that we still can't understand today. And then, a catastrophe, a flood, a freeze, a reset. And they were pushed outside of history. But their traces are still here, in the stones, in the maps, and maybe in our DNA. Maybe the real question isn't, did giants exist? Maybe the real question is, are we their children? Because history is written by the victors, but the stones never lie.